Hey everyone, today we're going to take a little bit of time and talk about, as you can see at the bottom of that slide, the characteristics of living things. This is basically a life science course or a biology course, and so living things are our primary focus. And as we go through the year, we're going to dive deeper into a lot of these aspects of living things. What is life and what things do we see inside all of these living things that we experience. So, for the first unit, really, we are going to spend most of our time focusing on this first characteristic of living things, and that's the fact that all living things are made of cells. Okay, here are some single-celled critters. We've got a paramecium over here with a little cilia around the outside of it so it can swim through the water. And then these guys are a little tough to see with the picture I have here, but these are each called an amoeba, and it kind of looks like a fried egg. It's got a nucleus here, some cytoplasm, and then a cell membrane around the outside of it. Okay, and they kind of just their bodies kind of flow around and stuff. But it doesn't matter if we're talking about a little single-celled organism like this, or some big, huge like oak tree or whale. I don't know, mushrooms, fungus, right? Those are living things as well. So we could look at the cells within any of those living things. Now, for the most part, cells are going to be microscopic, so we would have to use a microscope to be able to look at those, and that's something we'll also talk about a little more in depth as we move forward here. So, first characteristic of all living things is that they are made of cells. Second characteristic is that living things respond to their environment. Um, and for the most part, we typically think of this one as living things move, but it gets a little bit more complicated than that depending on what type of critter. What probably jumps into your head when you think of living things, you think of an animal. And for this one, definitely animals move, right? If you're an animal and you hear a loud noise, you're gonna run away probably, or you're gonna run and hide or something like that. Okay. But this can be, if we're looking at a plant responding to their environment, if you guys have ever noticed like a field of sunflowers during the day, the heads of those sunflowers are actually going to move and they're going to follow the sun. It's called phototropism. It's a movement, it's a growth in response to the sunlight. Um, you can also see this in just if you plant a seed in the ground, the roots grow downwards towards gravity. The stem, the shoot of the plant is going to grow upwards away from the pull of gravity. So it doesn't happen, just snap rapidly, but that is a response to their environment. Every living thing, it's gonna be separate from their environment, and it's gonna be able to respond to that environment around it. Okay, so living things have cells, and also living things respond to their environment. Next characteristics of living thing is that living things reproduce. Okay, we've got Marlin and Nemo there. Okay, we had a big clownfish. Now we have a little clownfish. We have more clownfish. Every single living thing has to be able to reproduce on its own. There are some things that kind of act like living things, but they require a host to be able to reproduce, like viruses. They can't reproduce on their own. They have to be inside something to be able to kind of take over and make more of them. So viruses, we don't consider them to be living things, basically because of this characteristic right here. But if you're looking at, animals, if you're looking at plants with seeds, if you're looking at a fungus with spores flying around and giving us allergies, right? All of those are methods by which those living things are going to reproduce. Finally, our last characteristic of living things is that living things use energy. Okay, they have to be able to get energy inside their body. They're going to process that energy, and then ultimately, this leads into some things like getting rid of waste as well. But really, it's all tied into the process of using energy. In this picture here, we see a lot of examples of that. Obviously, we see is that a cheetah or a leopard or something trying to get a meal right here, right? It's using energy to catch its prey, and then when it eats, that's how it's getting energy back into its body. Okay, this I'm not sure if that's an impala or what that is, but it's using energy as it's running from its predator, right? But also, you can see the food source that we have here. Okay, we've got a grazer. It's going to get energy from eating that grass. And if we trace that back even farther, the grass is going to be getting energy from the sun. Okay, so we have a lot of different steps and a lot of processes here that, really you could trace the energy from the sunlight up here in the sky somewhere, okay, into our impala and then into our cheetah eventually. Okay, so all living things, doesn't matter if we're talking about one of those teeny tiny little cells in the very first slide, all the way up to a blue whale or an oak tree, something like that, every single living thing is going to use energy. Okay, so just to recap, all living things, they're going to have cells, they're going to respond to their environment, all living things have to reproduce, and finally, all living things are going to use energy. So, four characteristics. If you're unsure if something's alive or not, apply it to those four things. If you can't do them, it's not alive. It's probably non living. Okay?